In real life, your decision depends on someone else's decision. I think you grasp the idea why we must learn game theory. Let's learn from the scratch. The game theory is a study of the decision making in a strategic situation. We have a player. Each player outcome depends on the other one decision. That is so important. The player are rational and try to maximize their payoff. That is our axioms. And interact between player create the game. For example, player A do action and after that B action. And these are repetitive, sometimes in one action. By the way, it depends on your game. The element of the game, when you're gonna to understand a set of player, a set of strategic, for example, you have player 1 and player 2, and they have a 2 strategy. I don't know, play football or play volleyball. Therefore, how many players you have, and each player can choose how many strategy. That is important. And player rank outcome based on preference. For example, if player 1, if gonna to go to football, maybe it's portfolio and his outcome is 3, but exactly for player 2 is 2. Therefore, we write by couple 3 and 2. Also, when we go to further, we can understand it better. The history of the game theory is by the Carnot in 1838 and Newman and his colleague is 1944. If you're going to search and see the better materials, it was at the first about the mathematical foundation, but if we're gonna to say if a person change all the game theory, was it John Nash in 1950, and his Nobel Prize in find the equilibrium point in mixed strategy and pure strategy, and we can say the John Nash, and it's produced a revolution in the game theory. But about the application of game theory, economics, for example, in market and computation, in politics. For example, we have several players, they're going to negotiate or increase the escalation or conflict. In business, also we can use the strategies, and for the pricing, bid, sell, and like this, we can see a lot of examples. But in your daily life, that is so important. If I can see a person a little study mathematics, I think for any engineers and college studies, you must learn the game theory, because your life is all of things and it's created with all of things by cooperation and competition. The prisoner dilemma, at the first example of that, you consider we have a 2-player. Decisions are made independently, each player to maximize their payoff, and mutual cooperation is better outcome. But unfortunately, because this player, they haven't the trust to each other, but in the last, they choose the worst outcome. I'm gonna to explain you better in here. For example, this is exactly the matrix of the present dilemma. The row represents of your player 1, and also your column represent the player 2. Okay? Each column shows, for example, if you write in here 3, that is player 1, that is player 2. But if you see, it has confess, and confess. What's the meaning of that? If 2 players, not only player 1 and player 2, they confess, at the same time, their outcome is 3 and 3. Because if you know what is the present dilemma question exactly, they are 2 people, they arrested by the police, and they are in separate rooms, and after speaking with the police, they hadn't the trust about the person. They are in front of them. If they confess with the police, both of them confess, they give the 3 years in the jail. If one of them be silent and another one confessed, a person is a confessed, give a 4 years, but another one give free from the prison, and both of them, if they give the silence and they don't speak and they try to be silent, they give the 1 year. Immediately, right now here, let me clear here, if you see, if they be silent, they just give a 1 and 1 year, they go to the jail, yes? But unfortunately, because in this game, they don't trust to their colleague, because they are in the separate and they don't know what's happening over there, this equilibrium point, they push them to 3 and 3. What is the meaning of that? Exactly, we say for this present dilemma. What is the dilemma? Although the cooperation in here is good because they don't have a trust. If a person you consider he is scared about his friend confess, and they say, oh, if my friend confessed and I be silent, I give a 4 yes, I prefer to confess. And therefore the both of them, they confess, and that is a stable point. And although it's not good point, but it's a stable point. But what is to happen? In this question, the stable point is 3-3, and it also is a Nash equilibrium. Also, I told you, the 1 and 1 is better, but it's not unstable. And the answer of this question exactly is 3 and 3. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe me. I'll see you in the next videos. Take care. Bye bye.